What is good, you guys? Welcome back to the Heat Report and welcome back to a brand new video. This time reacting to some hot takes that I've seen regarding the Miami Heat. You know, some news is broken out about players like Duncan Robinson, some other players like Herro, Kendrick, Nunn. We're going to be reacting to some hot takes. I'm going to give you my opinion on those hot takes, and we're going to be talking about this very, very important game, the part 2 of a back-to-back against the Boston Celtics on Tuesday. So very, very jam-packed video for you guys. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, comment down below everything that you guys want to comment down below about the Heat. Ask me any questions you guys have, questions of the day, whatever, just comment down below. Score predictions, I'm here for you guys. So let's get right into it. The big news, apart from the Heat win last night, was the fact that Duncan Robinson, according to Adrian Wojnarowski, can receive a contract very similar to Joe Harris did, and he can be a 20 million type player in this league. Now, this caused, a lot of controversy between Heat fans. People are saying, nah, we got to let him go. That's an overpay. Some people were saying, nah, we got to keep him. Here's my opinion on it. Now, I recently made a video about the free agency. Go check that out. I made a video previewing the Miami Heat's free agency because we're going to have to make some big decisions. Duncan Robinson is going to be the one of the biggest players that we're going to have to cater to. Here is why. Duncan Robinson is one of the most important players on the Miami Heat. Even when he's not making his shots, when he's 2 for 6, teams just defend us differently when he's out there because they have to respect his jump shot more than anyone else on the floor. So hence, we have an offensive rating of about 118, 119 when he's on the floor, and an offensive rating of about 98 when he's off the floor. This is Duncan Robinson's impact on the Heat, not to mention Erik Spoelstra threw him on Jason Tatum yesterday, and he held his own on a lot of possessions. So his defense is also improving. Now, a lot of people are saying Duncan Robinson is not worth this much money. The question is, should we pay him $20 million a year? Is he worth that much money? I definitely think he is. And let me tell you why. Duncan Robinson is not an all-star or a superstar, but I do think he has the impact of some type of all-stars in this league. Victor Oladipo was an all-star, and I do think that Duncan Robinson should be, the same value as Victor Oladipo. Is that crazy to you? Probably. But in my opinion, Duncan Robinson is probably the third most important player on this team besides Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. I do think this offense is very centralized around Duncan Robinson, moving, cutting, screens, dribble handoffs. It's all because of Duncan Robinson. And another thing that I want to tell a lot of Heat fans, a lot of fans last year, we kind of realized that we made a mistake with letting Jay Crowder go in free agency. Do you want to do the same thing with Duncan Robinson? I certainly do not. I do think that Duncan Robinson, without him next year, if we let him go to a team like anyone who offers him $20 million, that team is going to gain a very big asset, and we are going to lose a very big asset. Now, his shooting is not the only thing that he brings. He's a very good cutter. He's an improved defender, and he's a very high IQ player. Duncan Robinson is a guy that we found undrafted, and we turned into a very serviceable role player in this league. I do believe if Joe Harris is getting paid $18 to $19 million, there is no reason why Duncan Robinson shouldn't be getting paid the exact same amount of money as Joe Harris. I know Joe Harris has the ability to put the ball on the floor a little bit more, but I do think Duncan Robinson is a better defender. Even though it's probably not that much of a gap, I do think he's a better defender, and I do think shot for shot, Duncan Robinson can outshoot Joe Harris any day of the week, even though Joe Harris is a very good shooter. So that's what Adrian Wojnarowski said. He said that Duncan Robinson is probably going to receive an offer sheet like Joe Harris did last year. A lot of people last year were saying that was an overpay for Joe Harris, but you can see how important he is to that Brooklyn Nets team. He is a guy that when Kyrie and KD and James Harden are on the floor with, he's gonna get a lot of open shots. And if we get Jimmy, Bam, and if we somehow get a third guy to pair alongside them, Duncan Robinson is gonna be a guy that is gonna be very valuable out there because we're gonna have the gravity of Jimmy, the gravity of Bam, the gravity of whoever is going to emerge or whoever we're going to pry away in free agency. Duncan Robinson's going to get a lot of open looks next year, a lot of looks that he's going to love, especially, at the start of the season, Duncan Robinson was not really shooting the ball that well. I do think it's because Jimmy and Bam were out, and they were like in and out of the lineup. He wasn't really able to get those looks because defenses weren't really focused on, KZ Okpala or Gabe Vincent or Precious Achiuwa like they would be on Jimmy and Bam. But with a full season of Jimmy, a full season of Bam next year, I do think Duncan Robinson is going to be a very, very, very big piece next year. I do think the future is seeing a backcourt of him and Tyler. Even though I don't think Tyler is a true point guard, he doesn't really have to be on this team because Jimmy Butler is the point guard. So Duncan Robinson is a guy that I do think we should be matching anything that we're able to. Obviously, don't want to match like 25 mil. That'd be a little bit too much. But, I don't think 20 mil is crazy for a guy with Duncan Robinson's impact on this team. So I would say Duncan Robinson, I do think we're going to keep him. And I do think he's going to get, 18 to 20 million type of deal. I do think we're going to match it because in my opinion, we'd be crazy not to if you look at the impact that he has on offense. And he's one of the leaders in defensive win shares as well. The second hot take that we're going to be reacting to is Tyler Herro is better than Kendrick Nunn. Now, Kendrick Nunn over the past month has been playing exceptionally well. He's been, one of our most consistent players on this team, and a lot of Heat fans in particular are like, man, we don't really need Herro when we have Kendrick Nunn. Like he's a lot better than Herro. And I can see it. I can see why a lot of Heat fans are saying this. Kendrick Nunn, in my eyes, is definitely the more consistent player as of right now. But I think at Tyler Herro's peak, and I'm not even talking about potential here, I'm talking about right now, when he's at his best, he's a better player than Kendrick Nunn to me. So it just depends on which player you'd want to have. But you also have to look at the potential as well. Kendrick Nunn is 26, if I'm not mistaken. Tyler Herro is 21. The potential is crazy for Tyler Herro. I don't think he's going to be, a superstar. I think he has all-star potential. Call me crazy if you want. I really, really do think he does. This has been a very tough year for him because of, he had COVID. He had that foot injury. He had another injury, neck spasms, all this stuff, drama off the court, whatever. But when Tyler Herro is playing like he can play, there's very, very few players in his draft class that are better than him. I know Knicks fans want to compare RJ Barrett a lot. I do think that RJ Barrett right now is a better player because he's shown it, over the season. But I think Tyler Herro has high potential. And I do think that Tyler Herro can be, a very, very, very solid player for us. If you're talking about right now, though, I think it can go either way because Kendrick Nunn is a more consistent player. But I think at Tyler Herro's peak, he's amazing in my eyes. He can be when he's playing at his best, even right now, he can be an all-star caliber player right now. We just saw it against the Timberwolves. Against the Celtics, he only played 17 minutes. I thought he scored the ball really, really well, which he had to because his defense was terrible. And he's really gonna have to improve on his defense because if Tyler Herro wants to be, a good player, he cannot be out there like Trae Young on the defensive end because Trae Young is a lot better offensively than Tyler Herro is. Tyler Herro is going to have to develop he's going to have to develop some size. I think he's going to have to develop, he's just not strong enough. I think he does well as far as, he does well as far as, positionally, like he gets a lot of steals because he has good length for his position. But as far as, his body, he's just not physically strong enough to deal with a lot of these stronger, bigger players than him, which is why you saw Jason Tatum and Marcus Smart were going at him in the second quarter. Which is why I think he only played 17 minutes because his defense was not that good at all, even though he was giving us a lot of offense. Tyler Herro is going to have to pick up his defense if he wants to be, if he wants to reach his potential. I don't even think he has to be, Marcus Smart or Drew Holiday out there on the defensive end. He just has to be an average defender. He's below average right now, and he's going to have to pick that up. But I think offensively, I think Tyler Herro behind Jimmy and Bam is probably, when he's playing as good as he can play, he's the third best player on this team if he plays like that. But I would say Kendrick Nunn is probably, besides Jimmy and Bam, the most consistent player on this team too. So it can go either way. What I don't want Heat fans to do, though, this is just comparison as far as because they're both similar. That they were both in the same class, and I know Nunn was undrafted and he's older, but Nunn and Herro are two rookies last year, and they've been compared a lot as far as putting in trade packages and contracts and all that stuff. Just be happy that we have both on our team, and I do think we'll have both on our team next year, unless we let Kendrick Nunn walk in free agency, which we might do possibly. But right now they're on our team, and we're gonna have to stick with them. We're gonna have to roll with them. Kendrick Nunn's gonna start. Tyler Herro is gonna come off the bench. That's completely fine to me. Next season we'll figure out who's gonna start and who's gonna come off the bench. But as of right now, Kendrick Nunn is the more consistent player. But when Tyler Herro is at his best, and when Kendrick Nunn is at his best, Tyler Herro is the better player to me. I hope that makes sense to you guys. Last thing we're gonna be talking about is the Tuesday's HeatCeltics game. Very important game. It's like probably, I wanted to say that last night against the Celtics was the most important game of the season. This might be the most important game of the season, because let me tell you guys why. So the Charlotte Hornets lost yesterday, and you guys might be like what does this have to do with the game, with the HeatCeltics game? What it has to do with the HeatCeltics game is that since the Charlotte Hornets lost yesterday, if we beat the Boston Celtics tomorrow, if we beat them tomorrow, there is no possible way that we are in the play-in. No possible way that we are in the play-in, mathematically. If the Boston Celtics beat us tomorrow, then they not only have the tiebreaker against us, they're probably going to be winning their last two games against the Cavaliers and the Timberwolves. If they win those games against the Cavaliers and the Timberwolves, the only way the Heat can be ahead of the Boston Celtics is if they beat the 76ers, the Milwaukee Bucks, and the Detroit Pistons. So very crucial game, because if we win this game, we're in the playoffs. If we lose this game, we have to win out on all three of our next games in order to be in the playoffs, basically. Because the Celtics there's no way that the Celtics are losing to the Cavs, and there's no way that the Celtics are losing to the Timberwolves. They might, but I just don't see it, especially because they're gonna have the tiebreaker over us as well. So we have to take advantage of this, because we cannot rely on teams like the Knicks and the Hawks to drop anymore. The Hawks are not gonna drop. The Hawks are not gonna be in the play-in. You know why? Because Bradley Beal just got injured. He's out for the next two games, and the Wizards play the Hawks twice. The Hawks are winning against the Wizards twice, unless Russell Westbrook turns into the MVP that we saw in 2017. The Knicks are already far ahead of us because they won against the Clippers. I don't see the Knicks dropping any games. The Hawks, I don't see them dropping against the Wizards. The Wizards were their two toughest games of their last four, and they're not going to lose those two now because Bradley Beal is injured. He's out for those two games. So it really comes down to the game on Tuesday. If we win against the Celtics, we're in the playoffs and they're in the play-in. If we lose, then we have to do a lot in order for us to get into the playoffs. Otherwise, we're in the play-in. So it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be really tough. As to how we approach this game on Tuesday. But and I don't even know if Jaylen Brown is playing or Robert Williams is playing. If them two are playing, it's gonna be even tougher. But we're gonna have to show up. And I know Spo and I know the guys know that I think it's more important than it was on Sunday. Just because we know the circumstances now. We know if we lose this game, we have to win out on the next three in order to get into the playoffs. And we know if we win this game, we're in the playoffs. So hopefully we take care of business against the Celtics, because like I said, very important game, guys. Very important game. And we have to win. But yeah, I think that's where we're going to wrap it up. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below what you guys thought about my hot takes and what you guys thought about what do you guys think about the game tomorrow? How what's your confidence levels? And your score predictions, get those in below. I'm not probably not going to do a preview. This is probably like the mini preview for it, because I already did a preview for the first game. Not much has changed because we haven't really had a significant injury report. But yeah, that's probably gonna be it for me, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment down below. Peace.